Did you know we all have a money mindset, and that this money mindset, whatever it is, can directly or indirectly affect your ability to achieve your goals? Not just your financial goals, but your life goals too. Because a lot of the time, our beliefs about money control how we manage our finances, and in turn, how we create wealth, or unfortunately remain financially handicapped. And to discuss this with me is a lady who helps individuals demystify skepticism around money, wealth, and abundance to achieve financial independence and a balance in alignment with true self. Patient Carew is a certified money coach with a deep understanding of the behavioral dynamics around money, and uses this understanding to help bring consciousness to money patterns and behaviors to move us towards better money decisions. She holds several certifications in human psychology, is a trained and certified life coach, as well as an NLP practitioner. Patience is an associate chartered accountant and an investment management professional. Welcome, Patience! Money coach!
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited about this because I want to blow in 2022.
You will blow.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But the first thing is, what is a money mindset?
Good question. Money mindset really and basically is just your attitude around money. Why you act the way you act with money, why you save, what influences the decisions around your spending patterns, your ability or capacity to earn, and all the decisions you make around your financial life really is what triggers them, is what your money mindset is.
So the things that trigger the financial decisions you make, whether you're spending or you're saving or you're investing, everything to do with
is rooted in your money mindset.
Is rooted in your money
your
mindset.
outlook towards money,
Okay.
the upbringing,
Okay.
your behavior,
Okay.
your environment, and all the other factors that influences your money decisions.
So tell me
your
more
money
about what you
patterns.
mean when you say your upbringing. What does your upbringing have to do with your money mindset?
So you see, all of us in nature, we're all nurtured into our nature. So what we're showing up as really is how we've been brought up, what our environment has impacted on us, religious conditionings, social, cultural expectations, all those things, all those factors are what has, been with us, what we've all grown up with, okay? And then when you link that with money, you would say, oh, what are the decisions, what are the conversations, what were the languaging around money, what was the energy around money in your house or in your environment? And in terms of your environment, it could be your school, your education, it could be if you had a part-time job, it could be anything around what made you become what you are today. It could be anything around what is now showing up or what the manifestations of money is like in your life today. Okay?
Are your emotions connected to any of this?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Your emotions actually drives the decisions that you make with your financial life. And a lot of people argue that this isn't true. But modern research has also shown that our emotions and our behavioral attitude is what is showing up now as money mistakes, money habits, money issues, money fears. All of them is what triggers all those things, okay? Because what is happening is we're now focusing on financial solutions. Everyone thinks that the money mistakes, the money fears, the money habits, staying in debt, getting out of debt, all those things, or investments, wrong investment, positive, whatever, all those things. People think that, oh, getting more financial solutions, getting more financial literate, getting better at money management. Of course, all of those solutions are also good. But fundamentally and rooted behind all those things is actually an emotional flaw.
An emotional flaw,
yes,
not a strength.
Not a strength. What triggers all of us actually instinctively is our emotions. Yes. Except you then gain consciousness into that. Except you gain consciousness and you begin to get increased awareness as to why you do the things you do, why you act that way, why you're when you're with money, why you are that way with money. That's when you begin to bring in changes. For instance, how do you explain a woman that decides, you meet a woman, right? And you say to her, what's your charge? And then she's thinking, what did that man say to me today? How do I feel today?
What do you mean, what's your charge?
What's your service like? What's your rate card or whatever?
Yeah.
And then she's going over her emotions to tell you what her rate card is.
But
She's
shouldn't it
checking
just
her
be written
emotion.
down if you're selling clothes or if you're coaching? Is it not just written down?
But a lot of people, you'll be surprised, a lot of people use their internal triggers to actually show up. Yes.
How
When they're going to be telling you about their pricing, they're going, first of all, what they say to you, they're running through their own mental model of the world. They're running through their own perception, you see. And it's also showing up even in our money as well, okay? So you say to her, Madam, what is your rate card? And she goes, today it's $100, tomorrow it's $200. She's checking through her psychological filters.
No, but actually, you know what? What you've just said has actually Instagram, yeah, all the people that sell services on Instagram, and they say DM for price. Are you telling me that is their emotional?
No, that's different. That's
Okay.
different. We're talking on money decisions here. We're talking on money decisions, emotions around money, not actual practical buying and selling. Okay, we're
But
talking
then-
about triggers around.
Yeah, but isn't it a trick? Aren't they all connected? Because you're selling a pair of shoes online, and instead of putting the price there, you tell the customer to DM you for the price. Isn't that because you are determining, you're going to use something to determine what you tell the customer the price is? And the price can change depending on who the customer is.
So doesn't it apply? Don't you think that they're doing marketing or some psychology of selling there?
No.
Not wanting to put their prices out there or something. Don't you think that might be what they're doing? What do you think
there's
they're
an
doing?
emotional connection there to what makes them tell person A price A and person B price B. I don't know.
Well, let me share this. Part of money issues is also some of us capacity to under-earn. Okay, and how does this work? Sometimes there are things rooted in us. There's some trauma or some trouble or some experience from the past that has now caused some sort of, how do I put this? Some sort of conflict in terms of money. And so it creates, or we front as saying, I don't need this money, or I don't like money too much, or too much money.
Sounds
Those sorts of aversion makes us under-earn, okay? And under-earning is a very big issue for women, most especially, you see. And it's not as though they don't know how to call their prices or something. It's just something in them that is now conflicting with their own capacity to state what their price is. And
Is
there's
this
something
connected
inside
to the
of
money
them.
mindset, though?
Yes. Every way we show up, and everyone has money. I don't know, people think that only middle-class people or maybe not so wealthy people have money. Everyone has money mindset and money issues, to be honest. The rich also go through that as well, just the same way every regular person. It's just that at different levels of consciousness or different levels of awareness, there are actions, there are significant steps that people take, and in which they use to increase their mindset, their outlook, that then influences their financial decisions and helps them gain better financial independence or wealth or whatever it is that their goals are.
So earlier you touched on upbringing. So are you saying that our beliefs, values, and background influence our money mindset, which essentially is how we perceive money and how we interact with money?
Absolutely. And I can share a personal experience, okay? Personally, my dad is a chartered accountant, okay? He's still very
They
much
say
alive.
accountants are stingy.
You know, and he saves, he still saves. I got that from him. I save, okay? So part of what you will get if your father was or is a chartered accountant is he will teach you money management, basic money management. You will learn to save. You will learn to cut your coat according to your size and live within your
means, yeah.
But you see, on the sideline of that is the child can experience conflict because growing up, I didn't understand the difference or the extent between how much my dad had and how much he didn't have. All I knew was my expenses got, met, school fees, tuition, whatever, books, clothes, everything. And this sort of, now I save, now I know how to save, but to what extent does a parent save? And how much savings does the child now, how much understanding of saving does the child now get? And then when they get to their adult age, how do they now live in the enoughness of the present? How do they know that they're not saving so much? Where is that balance? Because a parent can save so much that the child gets conflicted as to whether there is a lack or there is enough. And then that child now has this conflicted belief or conflicted feelings or emotions or energy when they grow up. And this is so because, I say this because even I myself, I experienced that. Okay? Yes. At a point, I asked myself, what am I saving for? Why am I not making money decisions? Why am I not? And this, it's a good thing because some other people will say, at least you know how to save. My own is, I can't keep the money. You see, how do I know that, okay, I have saved enough for emergency? What is enough? And that's where your beliefs and your values and your, what was the other thing?
Your upbringing.
Your upbringing comes in, okay? Now, your beliefs around money, right? They're just stories that you tell yourself and stories that you have heard over time. And you can course correct those stories. So people need to know that whatever stories that they have come up with or they have heard or that may have been imprinted in them growing up or even up till their adult age or whatever experiences that they have felt around their financial life or around money, they can course correct, they can change them, they can, you know, rewrite the stories.
If they don't unlearn and relearn.
Yes, if they don't understand that they have that power, then they'll keep labeling them. They'll tell the story and then label themselves. And that's when you hear them say, poverty runs in the family. Or
do people actually say that?
Sorry?
Do people actually say that?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. People say, oh, we don't do too much money. Too much money is not so good. Money is just, and you see, the funny thing is, this is actually true. The funny thing is, even when they are aware or even when they have forgotten some of all the stories that have been imprinted through beliefs, which have been formed over spaced repetition over time, when they do this in their adult age, even when they go the opposite direction and make more money, there's still that internal resentment, internal feelings of okay, now that I have this money, I can't afford to keep this money. They don't know. Subliminally, they are sabotaging what's manifesting on the physical based on what is going on the inside. Wow. Subconsciously. And so when they have so much money in their account, they can't save that money. And even when they
don't
do,
invest.
Even when they do, they will still burn that money somehow. And so you find them say, oh, there's an investment opportunity out there, but what's triggering them is to actually take that money out of their account. What's triggering them is to make sure that that money is solving a need, either as contribution, either as helping others, either as, you know, but that money must be doing something. Why? Because there's something residual in them that does not want that money in their account. And I don't
But isn't it a good thing for the money to be, because a lot of wealth coaches say your money must work for you.
Yes. Knowing your money must work for you is different from you throwing your money away because you can't afford to keep the money. You can't afford. There's nothing absolutely wrong in keeping your money in your account or putting it in a mutual fund pending when you get the right investment products out there.
Right, so it's the ability to think strategically. So rather than say by force, the money has to come out of the account, is to be able to take a step back and say,
yes,
what do I want to achieve? What are my goals? And how can I use the money to achieve them?
Absolutely. Because before you even invest, a good investment manager would do some sort of risk profiling on you. They would give you some form of client assessment form where you would, they would ask you a couple of questions. If you're a discretionary client, they would ask you a couple of questions to check your risk aversion, your risk tolerance, if you're a risk lover. And then all those sorts of questions that they ask you helps them know what type of investment product to sell to you. But at the back of it, before you even make those investment decisions, you're checking your mind, you're checking your emotions. And if you have anxieties around money in and of itself, you're not going to be picking risky ones. And even if you do, there's something triggering that as well. And that's why you find a lot of people, you hear there's a return of investment somewhere there, and they're running into that product, they're running into this one there, and at the end of the day, they burn all the cash.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what money mindset does largely is bringing consciousness to our money patterns, our behaviors around money, really, in and of itself. It's more, that's largely what it does. And that's not to undermine the practical aspect of financial
But you have to
advisory.
understand the psychology of
Absolutely.
money before you know how to use it properly, so it doesn't
so
become
you
a handicap
you have to
you.
understand it for yourself.
Yeah.
And you also have to understand what money does for you, what money is to you. And that's where the issue, where you talked about values, that's where that comes in.
It sounds like there's also an element of you have to be honest to self. Because if you're, I'm assuming that if you're honest to self, you can say, okay, I like the fact that money makes me happy, but that's okay, isn't it?
And then you do things that make you happy.
Yeah.
And then you create value in exchange for the money based on the things that make you happy.
And then you don't go around being anxious and chastising yourself for spending the money on a spa date or a holiday or something,
Well,
because
if you've made
you've
the money
created
work,
value.
Well, you've created value. And it's also true when people understand the dynamics of money. When people understand that money in and of itself is a tool. Money in and of itself is just a medium of exchange. It's a reflection of the value that you give to the world. And if they understand that power that they have for producing from themselves, giving back, even if it's a job, what is that extra thing that you can do to create value for yourself and for the other person? Because that's where the exchange occurs. And when that comes in, then money exchanges that. You exchange that value for money.
Wow.
When that comes in, what happens to you? You feel expansiveness in other areas of your life, because money enables every aspect of your life. Tell me which area of your life, which area, is it your health that you don't need money? But what we do is we project into money, okay? We see money as the negative side. And to be honest, it's how we've been raised. It's how we've been programmed. We see money as a problem. We see money as an object of value, an object of pleasure. What the things we don't know that there's a use, it's a tool to be used.
Wow.
All that misconception is actually and largely programming. And and the minute we gain that understanding,
You can then reprogram.
we reprogram.
So quickly, before we round up, can you please give me 3 to 5 healthy money habits that we can start implementing today?
Good. Now, if we were talking habits, remember I told you that habits are formed over time.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be that you would expect that when you take whatever I have said or whatever you have read on the internet, it would work today. You would have to bring in consistency. You would have to bring in discipline. You'd have to bring in compassion. Okay? So if we focused on the emotional aspect, it would be, okay, why don't take a minute to see bring some awareness into your money life? What are those patterns that are recurring? Those patterns, some of these patterns is a function of what has happened in the past. Did you always see your parents in debts? Were your properties repossessed? Or did you at any time had to fight for those things that are showing up, those subtle things that are showing up now? Bring them into consciousness.
So one would be have a moment of reflection around your relationship with money from your upbringing.
Yes, or whatever is showing up now. Even if it's not your upbringing, once you do that, and that's.
But you must reflect.
You must reflect. You must
and be honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then you take them down and be compassionate with yourself. Forgive
so
yourself.
Number 2 is write it down, be compassionate with self, and forgive self.
Before you then start moving to practical solutions, which would then be one of the first things I would always say to my clients is recognize all your expenses and accept them.
Recognize all your expenses.
Everything that you spend money on, accept them. And then now take conscious steps to say, okay, let me take this one out. Let me move this one to the next month. Once you start those baby steps, small steps, but they're very significant. That's action, okay? Yeah. So we talked about the emotional part, recognizing your money habits, patterns, emotions, and then we're moving to the practical part, which is, okay, your expenses. Recognize everything, accept them. After that, start to intentionally take some out for the next month. Before you know what's happening, you're moving into budgeting. Okay, and people are very averse to budgeting because they think it's a restriction, you know, but it's not. It creates room when you know, okay, this is
when
what
you have a budget, it frees you to be able to think
exactly,
clearly.
and then you move. So these are little practical steps that you can then take.
Yeah.
Only then you will then begin to think of savings. Before you now move into investment is even the last thing, because first of all you still need to learn to save.
Wow.
You still need to practice what we call financial discipline. You still need to understand the secret of wealth, which is delayed gratification. How do you know that if you don't even know how to count your expenses?
I'm gonna have to interrupt you, because you remember I told you that time flies by really quickly, but the key thing that I've taken from what you've said now is you have to first sort out the emotional side before you then start saying so you don't make bad investments and things like that.
Absolutely.
You have to first understand the psychology, change your money mindset.
That you're running on, the programming you're running on. And it's okay to let go of those past.
Yeah.
Those
and then
past
just
influences.
start all over again.
And so you can always change. You see, our brain there's something called the neuroplasticity of the brain. Yes, we can rewrite everything going on, everything happening to us. Because what happens to us is when we receive information, our brain takes it, gives it meaning, and then patterns it. So why don't we give it what we want and let it give it a new meaning and pattern it and begin to function in a way that optimally serves us.
On that note, we've run out of time.
Thank you.
I wish we had more time. Patience, thank you so much, because this is an area that we don't talk enough about. Everybody talks about wealth management, wealth creation, investing, all of those things, but we don't talk about the money mindset and the psychology. So I'm really glad we had this conversation.
Pleasure is mine. I'm happy to talk on this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next time you and I catch up, I will be telling you all the wins that I've had.
I look forward to
my
hearing
money mindset shifts.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
John, Helen, and myself are going to be here for a few more minutes to round up the show. So please, please, please stay tuned. And I really do hope that we've learned something this morning. Thank you.